Hi, everyone. I'm the roaming historian, Amy, and I am a history professor and also an avid traveler and lover of everything history and going to historical places. So today I'm going to take you to my home state of Michigan, and we're going to go to Detroit. And so through my pictures, I'm going to take you on a virtual voyage around Detroit. Let me share my screen with you here so you can see. So Detroit starts out, and it's this. It's by the end of the 1700s. There's a Detroit Stockade. It has a wharf. It has a fort. It has about 100 homes. There's shops. There's a tavern. There's church. In fact, by 1796, there's 500 people who are living in the stockade, and about another 2,100 who are living on nearby farms. And then Detroit grows. After its incorporation in 1815, it starts to really grow, and it becomes this important city. And so here we're going to start our tour. We're going to start our tour down by the river on Woodward Avenue. This is the monument to Joe Louis. Joe Louis was a famed boxer. And so this iconic fist is by Robert Graham. And this shows not just that he's a famed boxer, but also his fights to end segregation, because segregation existed in different forms, whether it was de jure, it was a matter of law, like in the South, or if it was de facto, like we see in other areas where it wasn't a matter of law. It was just a matter of fact. And so then we'll walk across the street here, and we're going to go to Hart Plaza. And Hart Plaza is this is a water riverfront area. It boasts several different monuments and historical markers. It has its prominence right here in the Detroit River, which by 18th century, Detroit was an important port city. It boasted military outposts. And of course, on the other side of this river is Canada. It made it an international stop as well. In Hart Plaza, you can see markers to Antoine Cadillac, who was an early French settler to the area. You can see the very evocative statue called Gateway to Freedom. And this is the International Memorial to the Underground Railroad. And so this is a testament to Detroit's heritage. It also the statue emphasizes the artistic expression of the city. It underscores why people chose Detroit. They migrated to Detroit for a better future. This is we're looking towards the skyline in Detroit, and here we're looking across the river towards Canada. And with its close proximity to an international border, I mean, Detroit was an important stop on the Underground Railroad as African Americans made their way to freedom from bondage. And it also speaks to another, history, which is the labor history. And so this is the Labor Legacy Monument. It is two magnificent here steel arches. And these arcs are by David Barr. And then there's 14 Vermont granite boulders. These are by Sergio D'Agusti, I think is the name. And these depict the sacrifices and the achievements of American workers. At the base, there are these voices of labor. And so there are words from civil rights activists. There's words from labor rights activists. There's words from strikers themselves. Even for instance, like the 1885 Saginaw Valley strike is represented there. And so we can walk back then to Woodward. We can go down, and here's Mariners Church. Mariners Church was actually, Mariners Church started in 1849. This was actually a stop on the Underground Railroad. And so you can enjoy looking at this church, and also the Masonic symbols here on the statue of George Washington up front. I encourage you to look at that. And then you can cross over Jefferson Street, start walking back towards Woodward Avenue. And then you'll come across one of the very famous statues in Detroit, which is called the Spirit of Detroit. And this is at right on Woodward Avenue. This is a 16-foot sculpture designed by Marshall Fredericks. Marshall Fredericks was a famed sculptor. It's located outside the Coleman Young Municipal Center. And according to Marshall Fredericks, so he was charged with trying to create a statue that represented hope, progress, and the spirit of man. And so he said the theme for this was a verse from 2 Corinthians 3:17. And now the Lord is that spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And so that is the spirit of Detroit. And And then if we go on, we can walk down Woodward Avenue. So we'll take a right on Woodward and we're going to walk into. So now, we kind of were looking from the river and we were looking at the skyline of Detroit. Now we're walking into that concrete jungle there. We're walking into the skyscrapers and all that area. And we're going to go into Campus Marshes. And this is a park in the city, and this was where the city's point of origin. So that's what you're looking at here. This is the point of origin. This is a medallion in the walkway that was the focal point of Judge Woodward's original plan to rebuild the city after the fire of 1805. And Campus Marshes is pretty cool. There's an ice skating rink in the winter. There's a fountain gardens. There's even a cafe. And there's some other statues. This is the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. So this is to Michigan soldiers and sailors of the Civil War. And so up here is the fierce-looking Michigania, a heroic woman brandishing her sword and shield. Michigan soldiers played important roles in the Civil War, and most notably at the Battle of Gettysburg. And so then circle around Campus Marshes, and we're going to take a right on Michigan. We're going to come up to two of Detroit's finest Coney Island restaurants, American Coney Island and Lafayette. And so these restaurants were started by two Greek brothers. They serve up a lot of fine eats. I have eaten at both. I really can't tell the difference, though. Detroiters, I guess, are fiercely loyal to one or the other. I suggest possibly getting a Coney from each and see which one you think is better. But to me, they represent the history of immigration. They were opened in 1917. American Coney Island was opened in 1917 by Gus Karos, who's a Greek immigrant. And it reminds me of the stories of Detroit at the turn of the century during the Industrial Revolution, when Detroit becomes the big, motor city that it is, and people migrated over and came here looking for a new life. And so, and then after that, we move into the Roaring 20s. And so I suggest you go to the Guardian building. This is a 1929 Art Deco building. Pewabic pottery, which is this, you can still, by the way, it's over 100-year-old store. There's still the Pewabic pottery store, and you can buy tiles or a vase or something. Mary Chase Perry Stratton was an artist for Pewabic pottery. And so closely with architect Wirt Rowland, they designed the interior of this building. And go ahead, go on in. You can go in. You can see these magnificent tiles, the various types of marble and stone. There's a breathtaking lobby. There's a beautiful Tiffany clock in the main hall. And then there's this 5-story mural by Ezra Winter, which depicts the Native American heritage of Michigan and various themes in the heritage of the city and the history of the city. And that's just kind of fun. And then, there you're probably going to have to get in the car. But that's my downtown walking tour. I suggest you get in the car, go on over to the Detroit Eastern Market. This is another historic place. This has been for over 100 years, 125 years. You have hundreds of vendors who are selling some of the best produce and meats and things. There's lots of great restaurants. There's street markets going on. There's local artists, there's jewelers, musicians entertaining people. It's great. Detroit's also home to one of the best and finest art museums in the United States of America, the Detroit Institute of Arts. You can tour over 100 galleries. They'll lead you through thousands of years of history. I mean, they have from 25,000 before current era to more the modern day. Andy Warhol, for instance, art. There's 658,000 square feet. You can tour the world in one place. It is amazing. And then maybe go on over to Belle Isle. Belle Isle is also an awesome place. You can stroll around there. You can see the nation's oldest aquarium. There's also the oldest continuously run conservatory, which I'm showing right here. And you can see the Detroit skyline because you're technically in the middle of the river. The island's in the river, so then you can kind of look back and get a great idea of history and how this became an American territory by the Treaty of Paris. I'm sorry, and the American Revolution. And then, I mean, there's other things to do. There's tons of great museums. There's casinos. There's sporting events. There's theater. There's opera. You name it. Go to Motown, the original house. But you go have yourself a great time. And I think that you will find that Detroit is just, it is a thriving city, having a real renaissance. So thanks for taking a virtual tour with me today. If you have a favorite restaurant or place in Detroit that you like to go, I'd love to hear about it. Have a great day and happy travels.